They dragged him through the dirt, wrists bound in iron. The crowd pressed close, rain fell lightly, and overhead the gallows loomed like a cruel monument. Olivier Levasseur, pirate, thief, legend, was moments from death. But he wasn't afraid. With the noose around his neck, he reached into his shirt, pulled out a parchment, and threw it into the crowd. "Find my treasure," he shouted. "The one who can solve this. We'll have it all." Then the trapdoor dropped. His neck snapped, and the greatest mystery of the pirate world began. A hidden treasure worth hundreds of millions. A cryptic riddle no one has ever solved. And a dead pirate whose legend only grew stronger with time. This is the story of Olivier Levasseur, the man who left behind a map without a key, a fortune without a trace, and a curse without an end. Levasseur was no common rogue. Born around 1688 in Calais, France, he came from nobility. Educated, trained in navigation and naval warfare, he served as an officer in the French Navy during the War of Spanish Succession. But when peace returned in 1714, the war ended, and thousands of sailors were left jobless. Some faded into obscurity, others chose a darker path. Levasseur chose piracy. He headed for the Atlantic, sailing to West Africa and eventually into the Indian Ocean. There, amidst the scattered islands and trade routes, he made a name for himself, not just as a raider, but as a tactician. They called him La Buse, the buzzard. He circled before he struck. Silent, precise, ruthless. In the early 1720s, Levasseur ruled the waters around Madagascar, Mauritius, and the Seychelles. His fleet included notorious pirates like John Taylor and Edward England. Together, they formed a deadly coalition that preyed on European ships traveling to and from India. But Levasseur was no mindless brute. He avoided unnecessary violence. He used fear and reputation. Most of his victims surrendered before a shot was fired. And with every heist, he grew richer. Then came the ship that would define his legacy forever. April 1721, the Indian Ocean. A massive Portuguese vessel, Nossa Senhora do Cabo, emerged from the sea mist. This wasn't just a merchant ship. It was a royal galleon carrying treasure from the Portuguese colony of Goa, India. On board were nobles, church officials, colonial governors, and, more importantly, sacred relics and royal riches. Gold bars, bejeweled crucifixes, emerald-encrusted icons, coins, silk, spices, diamonds. The wealth of empires in one vulnerable vessel. Levasseur and his allies struck. The Portuguese crew, outnumbered and outgunned, surrendered without a fight. The pirates boarded, looted, and vanished, without spilling a drop of blood. Some estimates claim the loot would be worth over $1 billion today. No pirate raid before or after ever matched its scale, and none left behind such an enduring mystery. After the heist, Levasseur disappeared into the maze of islands off East Africa. Some say he buried his share in the Seychelles, others point to Madagascar or Réunion Island. The treasure was never seen again. He continued to plunder for years, but like all pirates, his luck eventually ran dry. He was captured by the French Navy and sentenced to hang. Still, Levasseur wasn't finished. He had one final play. July 7, 1730, Réunion Island. A crowd gathered to see La Buse hanged. As the hangman approached, Levasseur stepped forward, grinning. From his neck, he removed a chain, attached a small folded parchment. He threw it into the crowd and shouted, "My treasure to the one who can understand it." The crowd gasped. The executioner pulled the lever, and La Buse was gone. But the mystery had just begun. The parchment contained 17 cryptic lines. Not words, symbols. Some looked like Greek, others like runes. Some, astrological symbols. No one could read it. Over the years, researchers and adventurers studied it. Some claimed it was based on the zodiac. Others said it referenced Masonic rituals. A few believed it required movement, not just interpretation. A path to be walked, not read. One theory suggested the lines described steps of a spiritual initiation, star alignments, solstice positions, water traps, and secret chambers. The riddle remains unsolved to this day. Centuries passed, but the legend refused to die. In the 1940s, a British man named Reginald Cruise Wilkins became obsessed. He believed the cryptogram was written using Masonic ciphers, combined with Greek mythology. He spent decades on Mahé Island, digging tunnels, draining wells, and mapping celestial alignments. He claimed to find traps, booby-trapped tunnels, floodgates, stone markers, but he never found the treasure. He died in 1977. His son John continued the work, and also failed. Others tried. Some claimed to find pieces of Spanish silver. Some claimed the government suppressed discoveries. Some vanished altogether. Local legend says the treasure is cursed, that those who come close to it suffer madness. Some fall ill, others dream of fire and drowning. One tale claims a French adventurer found a gold crucifix in the jungle, but within weeks lost his mind and fled the island. Another whispered story claims a diver found chests underwater, but the entrance collapsed before he could return. Still others say the treasure was never buried. It was divided, spent, or lost to the ocean. Or worse, that Levasseur's riddle was a trap, designed not to reveal gold, but to destroy too. He greedy. Some historians doubt any of it ever happened. No verified record proves that Levasseur threw a cryptogram into the crowd. No contemporary document describes it. The parchment only appeared over 100 years later, in the possession of a French historian whose sources remain unverified. Could it have been a forgery, a prank, a myth that grew legs, or was it real, but deliberately obscured? One theory suggests that secret societies, perhaps Freemasons or colonial elites, did find the treasure and buried the truth to keep the wealth hidden. If that's true, Levasseur may have won in the end, because no one ever caught him spending his fortune. Here's what we know. Olivier Levasseur stole the largest confirmed treasure in pirate history. He was hanged, but the treasure was never found. We know a riddle exists, and no one can solve it. We know people have died looking, and we know this: the legend is real. In the deep jungles of Mahé, in the sunken reefs of Madagascar, in the wind off Réunion Island, there are whispers that Buse never died, that he tricked death, that his riddle was more than words. It was a curse, and it still waits. Somewhere beneath the earth, behind a trap, under a forgotten star alignment, the gold still glimmers, the dead still guard it, and the buzzard still circles. They say pirates die by the sword or the rope, but Olivier Levasseur, he died laughing, because he knew. No death is final if your name becomes legend, and no grave is deep enough to bury a secret.